Good morning and welcome back to episode 6 of the Iron Man speedrun series. I actually am not going to do a lot of speedrunning in this episode just because the Yama boss and the Delve boss are they've both been announced by Jagex recently, and they're bringing in some pretty good gear upgrades that will change speedrunning quite a bit. So I think the plan today is to just polish off my gear. So I still need Zarite Van Braces and the Venator ring. And then I think once I've got those, I can probably start speedrunning Colosseum and Inferno. I don't think they'll change too much with the new items, so it'll be a good chance to sort of try that out a bit. And then later on in the video, my clan actually released a speedrunning diary, which has some moderate to hard times in it. So that will be quite fun to go for, and it'll be a good chance to just try speedrunning in loads of different places, see what I like, and think about what sort of target times I want to go for. So first thing in the video, you can see I'm doing Levy in the background, but I actually started off going to Nex after the last video, so yeah, I'll jump straight into the clips. So a nice little turbo plate body on one of my first kills back. And then after quite a lot of duos and trios, I actually got the Zarite Van Braces in a duo pretty quick after coming back here, to be honest. And that actually green logs next. So I ended up with quite a nice log overall. Got all the items, didn't go insanely dry, didn't get insanely spooned. So I'm very happy with that and very happy to not be back again. It's great fun with the T-bow as well. I like getting to use that here, it really does just make it a lot more comfortable. And then I'm finally able to clear one of the bank fillers that's been there for about 2 years, and that is all of the major gear items apart from the Venator ring. So then a couple of weeks just came and went very quickly at Leviathan. So after the Virtus Mask, which was a collection log, nothing actually happened really for the next few hundred KC. So here we are at 1400 and we still haven't got the ring, so we're getting a little bit dry here, but it's not the worst boss in the world, so I don't mind it too much. And then just looking at the log, you can see, yeah, still missing the pet, the ring, and the Virtus top, which would be nice to get just to have the full set. But yeah, 1400 KC, still hunting the ring. And then another Virtus Mask not too long after that, and then I started doing a bit of Tob, just to have a bit of fun. Then I got really lucky with one of my first hard mode Tobs back with the double Holy Kit and Sanguine Kit, which was nice because I actually needed the Holy Kit. And then a few normal Tobs, just doing some money forwards. I actually got the Rapier, which, believe it or not, is actually my last raids item. So that completed all of the Tob items, and that means I now have every item from every raid. Obviously I don't have the dust and the pet here or the capes, but I'm not too worried about those, but that's a really nice thing to finish off. So after a few days of tobbing, we got the sub 1530 trio and the sub 22-minute duo, which is just enough to get the new clan diary times, which I was talking about earlier. But I will be back to do more of both of those scales and try and get a really good time. But after that, it was back to Leviathan, and I actually think it would be good to talk through like how far I go into a kill. So obviously the phases at Leviathan speed up, and usually I would stop at this phase here when you sort of have one tick reaction to get the prayer up in time. And that's usually a pretty good stopping point for me, because I think the game's pretty sort of discreet in a way, in that it's sort of like one tick reaction time's a nice level to be at, but then to go even further beyond that, it's not like a continuous increase, it's like a really discrete step to suddenly doing 0 tick reactions. But I thought a good way to try and like develop to that point is to, when Leviathan is close to proccing in rage phase, if there's only like a couple of hits left for me to do, then it would be cool to sort of like try and do the 0 tick reactions for a few hits. And even if I do lose it, there's a good chance that I still get the kill because it procs quite quick. So I started doing that after 1400 KC, you can see. And I got successful a few times. I did die a lot, but it's been really good to like practice that 0 tick reaction and yeah, just really like develop that skill a bit. So now that I am very deep into the grind, I thought it would be worth talking through exactly how I killed the boss. And there's a lot of little things I do which are essentially trying to maximize the chances of not needing to Shadow Barrage, since it's quite a big time loss, sort of running around the arena. And there's actually a damage modifier during the special attacks, which mean that you just deal less DPS. So there's a few different things I do. So first, you'll see I'm spellbook swapping and summoning thralls, and that's important as they add quite a lot of damage over the fight. And then you will have seen that at the start as well, I also put Serp Helm on with a blowpipe and try and poison it. And because it has a 100% chance of doing that with the Serp Helm, you get sort of free damage over the fight as well. You'll also see me just take Avenge, which adds a bit of damage, and a bit earlier in this fight, I've forced it to swipe me in one of the first 3 phases, which adds 4 ticks to its attacks. That means you can get 2 blowpipes in for free before proccing. And all of this in total actually adds a lot of damage, and I'll just go over the calcs for that now. So assuming you flick the same phase as I do and Shadow Barrage when I do, there's 120 ticks between it spawning and it becoming too quick basically. And if you just ZCB all of that with a ZCB spec at the start, you're expected to do 640 damage, which isn't enough to proc it. It procs after 720 damage. So adding Thrall to that gives an extra 45 damage over those 120 ticks, which is quite significant. The poison, it does 4 ticks of poison, so you get 4 and 3 threes, but you also lose a bit of damage for sacrificing ZCB for blowpipe hits, so that adds about 10 damage total. For Venge, you want to Venge the melee attacks because they have a higher max hit, so you can Venge either the Swipe or a melee orb, and that does 18 damage on average. And then forcing it to Swipe as well, that adds 4 ticks onto its next attack, as I said, which, 2 blowpipe hits is about 18 damage. So adding all that together, you get 731 expected damage, which is quite a lot more than the 640 you'd get doing nothing. And importantly, that actually means that you're more likely than not to do 720 damage and actually proc it before you need to Shadow Barrage. So you go from sometimes getting to skip the barrage to usually getting to skip it, and that really does help with the kills per hour. And then the last thing you saw me do there, which is if you're very close to proccing, you can actually get a ZCB hit in immediately after you Shadow Barrage, and sometimes that's enough to do that extra bit of damage just to proc it, which is quite nice as well. So after going over double rate, I finally got the Venator ring, which is incredibly nice, and I'm glad to be done here because I was really starting to hate Leviathan quite a lot. And in my mind, that's sort of all the major gear upgrades finished now. So that's max melee, max mage, and max range. So I'm really happy with that. I'm still missing a few small things, so like the Demon Bane weapons. I'm missing Inquisitors and a piece of Virtus, but nothing there is really too useful, so I'm not sure I'll go for like Ink anytime soon. So after the Venator ring and the Van braces, I now have all the range gear needed to do more of the range-based content in the game. So Colosseum and Inferno speeds are the two things I'm kind of doing at the minute. I'm not going for insanely fast times because I do think some of the new items will be a bit useful, but I'm just trying to get the like clan diary times at the minute. So for Colosseum, that's a sub 18, and then for Inferno, it's a sub 50. So in the background is the Colosseum run where I got the time, but I'm just going to talk through some of the new items coming in. So first with Yama, which I think is the like contract-based demon, which is why I've gone and got the Arclight. So the upgrades there, first is the Death Charge upgrade, which lets you do 2 Death Charge per minute instead of 1. And that'll have some pretty nice uses like Maiden and Tob, but it'll be quite useful here at Colosseum because you're killing a lot of mobs, and once per minute's a bit of a bottleneck at the moment. And I think it'll be quite nice for Inferno as well whenever I do start taking thralls, which I don't do in this video, but I will be doing soon. The next thing from Yama is the Surge Potions, which I'm kind of excited for, but I think they're going to be quite annoying to use. I know there's already some like implementation problems at Tob because I think they're paused between rooms, but you can already reset some timers between rooms, like the Saturated Heart, for example. So I'm not sure how that will end up being used, but I don't think it'll be massively game breaking. It'll probably just be annoying. There's also I think there's like a combo rune that's like Cosmic and Soul together, which it could be cool, especially on an Iron. Some of the like constraints really are about space because you can't trade runes, but souls you can already bring in kind of for free, either in a shadow or in the Ring of Shadows. So it's not really going to be like a space save a lot of the time, but it will be nice for just like quality of life at a lot of places, and not needing to take stuff out of pouch or take stuff out of the shadow and things. And then obviously there's the Oathplate armor, which is the Slash Ink, and that'll be really nice. And I like that it doesn't have a set effect like Inquisitors, so there's going to be some like cool ways of using it where we're mixing and matching armor, and max hit thresholds matter quite a lot. So I'm very excited for that. I think it'll be really cool. And then the last thing from Yama is the Soul Flame Horn, which is the like specking horn that lets you guarantee 100% accuracy for the next melee hit. And I think that'll be cool. I don't think it's going to be too overpowered though. It does like have a pretty high cost of using it. Like you sacrifice quite a bit of your own spec. So yeah, I'm quite excited for that, just to like figure out where's a good place to use it and stuff. Then the next boss coming into the game is the Delve boss, and actually I think maybe that's the Demon Bane one rather than Yama. and that's got some like more basic gear upgrades, which I'm really excited for. So first is the Avernic treads, the Tribrid boots, and they come with a range strength upgrade as well, which is really nice. Yeah, I'm really excited for those. I like the fact that the upgrade is now sort of like making you take 8 ways instead of 9 ways. Yeah, I think recently, especially with Shadow now, with damage mattering so much, a lot of the upgrades have just been annoying because you have to take more items and switches. So I'm excited to see like an upgrade that makes things easier as well as more powerful. Then there's the Eye of Ayak, which is the 3-tick powered staff. I'm really excited for that because obviously it will be very useful in Nilos, and I've been really enjoying Tob recently, so yeah, excited to see that. And then finally the Confliction Gauntlets, which have that special effect that, what is it, it like, yeah, lets you have a double accuracy roll if you miss, which I think is really cool. And I like the fact that they have to think about cool side grades like this and ways of adding depth to the game, because the Shadow exists and they can't just add as much magic damage percent as they want. So I'm excited for that. I think it's been a bit overblown. People have been saying that it's going to be massively overpowered for Shadow, but I'll put a graph on the screen now showing like the actual impact on DPS that effect will have for your base accuracy. So you can see like along the bottom, say you're 80% accurate with a Shadow, which is, you know, you wouldn't really be using a Shadow anywhere you're less than 80% accurate anyway. That only gives you about a 3% increase in DPS. So I think people were shouting a lot about the huge increase in DPS that it was given at places that Shadow wasn't very accurate, but there's not many places you'd actually use it, so I don't think it's a huge impact. And it already sort of like favoured Sang and Trident anyway, because for any setup, if you're going to use Shadow or Trident at a certain boss, the Trident's going to be less accurate than the Shadow, so it just already gets a bigger impact because of this effect. So yeah, I'm a bit annoyed that they removed it from or sort of stopped it working with Shadow, because I thought it would have been cool, but it's fine really. It was such a minor impact that it's not a big miss anyway. But yeah, there's a lot of new items coming into the game, and I'm really excited, and hopefully Yama and Delve are actually really fun content as well. And I've got a lot of faith in Jagex. They've been doing some really good updates recently, so I'm really excited for that, and I'll try and get videos out on both of those bosses, and yeah, and then get speedrunning with all the new items afterwards. But that is basically everything in this video, so hopefully you've enjoyed the Colosseum and Inferno content in the background. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Next video will probably be a while away, but hopefully at least one of those 2 new bosses is in that one. So thank you for watching, and please do subscribe and like and leave a comment if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.